To finish out today's show, Frank Proctor is going to share with you some of his secret recipe on how he likes to set up and modify his Glocks.
Hey, what's up, shooters? Frank Proctor with Way of the Gun Performance Shooting. Another one of the things I got some requests on was, somebody wanted me to do a segment, or a few people wanted me to do some segments on setting up a Glock. How do I set up my Glocks? What parts, pieces, or whatever I think make them work better for us. Hey, Glocks out of the box work really well. All right, they're accurate. They're always going to work for you pretty much until you start messing with them and make them not work. So I've kind of migrated to the Gen 4 Glock. Several things I like a little bit better about those: the shorter front to back grip, a little bit easier to get more leverage on the gun and apply more grip pressure to it easier. And that's regardless of hand size. I got pretty good size hands. I prefer the Gen 4 without the extra dimension on the back strap. I do like it to get some extra back straps there, and I modified this one up a little bit there. So I got just cut it off right underneath. So I got that beaver tail so I don't get slide bite. That's something that we do get a lot with the Gen 3s. We don't get slide bite, and we don't really add a lot of dimension in this area, which feels really good, and then we don't add any dimension here, so it's a lot easier to hang onto the gun and be comfortable and get that leverage. I find that the stock mag release is pretty easy to get a hold of versus the standard, stock Gen 3 one. Other features, the trigger bar is a little bit different. Got some features in there that make the triggers a little bit lighter, a little bit cleaner there, just on the design of the trigger bar. Then moving along, now let's talk about the things that I'll do to them to make them a little bit better. Okay, say pretty decent out of the box. First thing we attack is the sights. I've for a long time been a fan of a black rear sight, straight up flat black rear sight, and a fiber optic red front. Okay, you may like green, may like orange, whatever. I dig on red. It's kind of how I'm wired, and that's everything, man. Carry guns, competition guns, combat guns. I've had some folks ask me that too. It's like, hey, what do you think about fiber optic sights for concealed carry or personal defense or in low light? Well, I think if you're carrying a pistol and you may have to use it at night against people, I think you have to have a light on you. Okay, I carry the little ProTac 1L. I carry it right there on my belt, same one I use on my rifle. I think you've got to have that light to positively identify whatever it is you think you might need to shoot before you just start blasting. You can shoot an outline. You can see an outline with night sights. You can see your sights, you can see an outline, and you can hit it. What did you shoot? Okay, the light lets you know that. If you have a light in your hand, you will illuminate the sights. If you have a light on the pistol, it will backlight the sights. Okay, so in that case, regardless of what type of sights you have, you're good to hook there. I really dig that black rear, red fiber optic front. Really helps daytime. Lets our eyes work at the speed that they can. They can work really fast. All right, so we go with some different sights. These are my sights, the Y-notch sights. Really helpful on the speed and accuracy side of the house. More on that later. Other things to do is trigger. Yeah. I'll get my triggers down to about 3 pounds with reliability. The way I get that now, the heart of it is the ZEV V4 connector from Glockworks. I find that it breaks, it's a little bit less travel, a little bit shorter break, a little cleaner break than the stock trigger. I'll go with the ZEV trigger spring in there with that. Then back into the striker to get much lighter than stock. You're gonna have to start doing some different stuff on the striker springs. I've got a trigger kit where you can tune trigger weight to your preference. I've got a spring that I found, I call it my special spring. Can't tell you what it is, but I found that it works really well in the Glock and gives me with these other combinations, gives me about a 3-pound trigger that's always reliable. I do use a ZEV extended striker. Experiment with this one, kind of dig the concept that it has a little bit longer firing pin tip, so that aids in reliable ignition there a little bit as well. A different striker safety. The ZEV ones are really are pretty good. The first ones they did were a little gritty, so we started using lightning strike ones. The new ZEV ones are pretty solid, so that's what I use now. What that's going to do for you is just get rid of a little of that grit on the trigger brake. As the nose of that trigger bar starts pushing through that thing, the stock one's a little square, you get a little grit in your brake there. Recoil springs. I will go with a 13-pound recoil spring. I've found it to be uber reliable. Even if you kind of thumb the slide a little bit, the thing will still go back into battery for you, and it's faster. It's a faster recoil impulse and less felt recoil on the shooter because there's less getting collapsed against you. We've talked for a long time about recoil springs, but there's just some down and dirty stuff that I do to the Glocks to make them a little bit more performance shooting oriented and still 100% reliable. That's what we got for now. We'll see y'all next time.
TV is brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, Troy Industries, Troy Defense, Streamlight, Bravo Company USA, Nemo Arms, Lucid Optics, Drago Gear, Trigger Tech, Primary Weapon Systems, EOTech, Mayflower Research and Consulting, closed captioning provided by Wiley X, and Trigger Time TV ammunition provided by Summit Ammunition.
We would like to dedicate today's show to the men and women of the United States military and law enforcement, the people that stand in the gap and keep our country free. God bless America.